Okay, so in this question we had to identify the statements that correctly define characteristics of index numbers. The first correct statement was that index numbers are useful for measuring a variable that cannot be directly measured. Of course, this is one of the main benefits of using an index series. It allows us to measure the general changes rather than specific changes. So, for example, an inflation index like CPI allows us to measure the general movement in prices for many goods in an economy rather than analysing each of the individual price movements of every single good. The Human Development Index is a way of being able to measure the level of economic development of a country through three indirect measures. Otherwise, we would not be able to accurately measure economic development on its own. Second statement is that index numbers indicate the proportionate change in a data series. This is one of the big things about index numbers. What it allows us to analyse is the change in a variable from one year to another. So, for example, if we were looking at real GDP as an index series, we would be able to compare how much real GDP has changed, for example, compared to the financial crisis. And when we're looking at the differences between index numbers, we're always looking at proportionate changes and not percentage changes. The next statement is that the index value in the base year is usually 100. Well, this is always the case. This is because to calculate index numbers, you have to divide the value in that given year by the base year value. So clearly, dividing, if we want to find the index value for the base year, you'd just be dividing its value by itself, and that would give you 1. And finally, an index number can be determined by doing the target year actual value divided by the base year actual value multiplied by 100. That, of course, is the combined process for calculating the index number for a specific data point. Okay, let's now go through the statements that were incorrect regarding index numbers. The percentage change sign should be used to reflect units for an index number. Well, this is incorrect because, of course, we're not looking at percentage changes, we're looking at proportionate changes. Index numbers are expressed in index units rather than percentage units. If an index changes from 150 to 170, there has been a 20% increase in the index. Well, again, this is incorrect because, of course, we're not looking at percentage changes, we're looking at proportionate changes. So you could calculate, just because it's increased by 20 index points does not mean it has increased by 20 percentage points. An index number can be determined by doing the base year of the actual value divided by the target year of the actual value multiplied by 100. Well, of course, this is the wrong way round. To calculate an index number, you should do the target year actual value divided by the base year actual value and then multiply it by 100. And finally, it is possible to compare the index numbers from two data series to determine the actual value of underlying data. Well, this is incorrect because this is not an actual possibility when you're using index numbers. The whole point of using index numbers is that you can compare the proportionate change of that particular data series from one year to another specific year.